Welcome to Gone But Remembered. I'm Jessica. Today we take a quiet moment to reflect on the lives of those who are no longer with us, yet remain deeply present in our memories. Their kindness, talent and spirit touched so many. As we remember them, we keep their legacy alive in our hearts. Darrell Sheets was widely known for his long-running role on Storage Wars, where he became one of the standout personalities of the series. Before television fame, he spent more than 30 years working in storage auctions, a field built on risk, instinct and experience. His bold approach to bidding and his ability to spot valuable items earned him respect in the auction community long before cameras began following his work. Television presence and public image. When Storage Wars premiered in 2010, Sheets quickly became a fan favourite. His confident style and unpredictable auction strategies made him one of the most recognisable figures on the show. Viewers connected with his excitement during big wins and the stories behind each storage unit, which helped shape the programme's popularity and long-term success. Family and personal life. Outside of television, Sheets was known to be a family-oriented person. He often worked alongside his son, Brandon Sheets, passing on knowledge of the auction business. Those close to him describe him as someone who valued personal relationships and shared experiences, not just professional success. Legacy and impact. Darrell Sheets is remembered for bringing personality and authenticity to reality television. His presence helped turn storage auctions into mainstream entertainment, leaving behind a lasting impression on both fans and colleagues who followed his journey. Actor Patrick Muldoon, known for his charm and screen presence, passed away at the age of 57. He became widely recognised in the 1990s as a television star, earning attention and a loyal fan base through popular roles in shows like Melrose Place and Days of Our Lives. During this time, he was seen as one of the standout faces of his generation, often remembered for bringing both style and emotional energy to his performances. Work in film and television. Alongside his television success, Muldoon also appeared in films, including the sci-fi cult favourite Starship Troopers. His work on screen showed his versatility, moving between drama, action and lighter entertainment roles. Over the years, he continued to stay active in the industry, taking on new projects in both acting and production, and remaining connected to creative storytelling in different forms. Legacy and final years. In his later years, Muldoon expanded his work behind the scenes while still appearing in new projects, reflecting his ongoing passion for filmmaking. He was remembered by colleagues as someone with an engaging personality and a strong presence both on and off screen. His passing marks the loss of a familiar figure from a defining era of television, leaving behind a body of work that continues to be appreciated by longtime fans. Apostasy, born June 28, 1999, was associated with the rise of alternative hip-hop and a new wave of genre-blending artists. His work reflected a mix of rap energy with elements of punk and rock, creating a style that felt expressive and unconventional. Rather than following established patterns, he leaned into experimentation and personal expression, shaping a sound that stood out in an increasingly diverse music landscape. Creative style and expression. From early in his career, Apostasy was known for exploring different sounds and moods within his music. His approach often emphasized emotional intensity, combining raw delivery with layered production. The focus of his work was less about fitting into a single category and more about capturing feeling and individuality. This approach resonated with listeners who were drawn to music that felt personal and unfiltered. Themes and connection with listeners. Much of his creative output touched on themes such as identity, inner conflict, and self-understanding. His music often reflected a sense of searching and growth, which many listeners found relatable. Rather than presenting a polished or distant image, his work gave the impression of someone navigating experiences in real time. This helped build a sense of connection between him and his audience, influence and cultural presence. Paustasy became part of a broader movement of artists challenging traditional genre boundaries. His willingness to mix styles contributed to a growing acceptance of hybrid sounds in modern music. Even with a relatively short career span, his creative choices helped inspire others who value experimentation and authenticity in their work. Legacy in modern music. He is remembered as part of a generation that prioritized individuality and emotional honesty in music. His style and approach continue to reflect the evolving nature of alternative hip-hop, where blending genres and personal storytelling play a key role. His influence remains present in discussions about modern musical expression and creative freedom. Stedman Pearson, born 29th June 1964, was a key figure in British pop music as a member of the family group 5 Star. Formed in the early 1980s with his siblings, the group quickly gained attention for their polished sound, coordinated performances, and strong visual identity that reflected the energy of the era. Rise with 5 Star became one of the defining pop acts of 1980s Britain, known for their upbeat music and choreographed stage presence. Songs like Rain or Shine helped establish their popularity, while their carefully crafted image made them stand out in a crowded music landscape. In 1987, the group's success was recognised with a Brit Award, marking a major milestone in their career. Creativity and style Stedman Pearson played an important role beyond performing. He contributed to the group's choreography and visual styling, helping shape their signature look and stage presence. His attention to detail and creative input added to the group's distinctive identity, blending music, fashion, and performance into a unified artistic expression. Legacy Stedman Pearson passed away at the age of 60, leaving behind a legacy tied to the vibrant era of 1980s pop music. He is remembered for his energy, creativity, and role in shaping 5 Star's success, as well as for his contribution to a family-led group that left a lasting mark on British pop culture. Morgan Freeman stands among the most respected figures in Hollywood, not simply for the roles he played, but for the calm authority he brought to them. Across more than 6 decades, his presence shaped cinema with quiet strength rather than noise. Born in the segregated American South, he rose from poverty to become a defining voice of modern storytelling. His narration and performances carried audiences through themes of justice, endurance, and redemption, making even silence feel meaningful. Yet behind that composed exterior lies a life marked by hardship, loss, and relentless struggle. Every achievement sits beside an unseen cost. At 88, his legacy feels complete on the surface, but the deeper story reveals a man shaped as much by suffering as by success. His life is not just a career in film, but a long study in endurance, discipline, and the emotional weight of survival. Childhood in the shadow of hardship. Morgan Freeman was born in 1937 in Memphis, Tennessee, into a family where survival always came before comfort. His parents worked constantly, yet financial stability remained out of reach. Much of his early childhood was spent moving between relatives, including long periods in Mississippi under the care of his grandmother. The experience of separation and instability became an early emotional imprint. Segregation in the American South added another layer of limitation, shaping his understanding of inequality before he even fully understood ambition. Schools were underfunded, opportunities restricted, and dignity often demanded internal strength rather than external validation. Even as a child, Freeman learned to observe rather than react, absorbing the world with quiet awareness. These early conditions did not break him. but they built the foundation of resilience that would later define his presence on screen. The boy who once lived in uncertainty slowly developed the patience that would become his greatest strength. The first spark of performance. Long before Hollywood, Freeman discovered something unexpected on a small school stage. At around 9 years old, he participated in a simple school play, an experience that quietly changed his direction in life. The stage lights were modest, the audience small, but something about the moment felt transformative. For the first time, he experienced being seen not as a child defined by limitation, but as a presence with voice and meaning. Acting did not begin as ambition, but as recognition. It offered a way to express what life had often denied him: attention, identity, and space to exist fully. That early experience planted a quiet certainty that stayed with him through years of uncertainty. Even as he moved through hardship, he held on to the idea that storytelling could become a path forward. What began as a school performance eventually grew into a lifelong pursuit of expression through character, voice, and emotional truth. Years of struggle and disappearance. Freeman's early adulthood was defined by uncertainty rather than recognition. With no financial stability, he entered the US Air Force, hoping for structure, but soon realized the life was not aligned with his purpose. Leaving behind that path, he moved toward acting with no guarantee of success. In Los Angeles and New York, survival became a daily challenge. He worked small jobs, took minor stage roles, and endured constant rejection. Many auditions ended before they began, often influenced by racial bias and limited opportunity. At times he lived with barely enough money for food, taking whatever work was available just to continue pursuing his craft. Yet he never fully stepped away. Instead, he remained within the world of performance, slowly building experience through theatre and small television appearances. His persistence during these invisible years formed the foundation of everything that would later come, even when recognition seemed permanently out of reach. Late recognition and rising legacy. Freeman's breakthrough did not arrive early. It came after decades of persistence, when most actors might have already been forgotten. His performance in Street Smart earned him critical attention and an Academy Award nomination, marking the beginning of long overdue recognition. From there, his presence grew steadily through films such as Driving Miss Daisy, The Shawshank Redemption, and $1 Million Baby. Each role reflected a quiet emotional depth that audiences trusted instantly. His voice became iconic, not because it was loud, but because it carried calm authority and lived experience. By the time he portrayed figures such as Nelson Mandela in Invictus, his performances felt less like acting and more like embodiment. Yet, success did not erase the physical and emotional cost of decades spent struggling. Fame arrived late, but it arrived carrying the weight of everything he had already endured to reach it. Personal struggles behind the fame. Despite public admiration, Freeman's personal life was marked by complexity and difficulty. His first marriage ended after years of emotional distance shaped by career demands and absence rather than sudden conflict. The pressures of constant work often left little space for stability at home. His second marriage also eventually ended after decades together, reflecting the same tension between public success and private strain. These relationships revealed a consistent truth: achievement in one area does not guarantee harmony in another. Alongside marital challenges, Freeman also faced legal and public scrutiny in later years, which affected his reputation even without formal charges. While he addressed these situations with restraint and limited public commentary, they contributed to a period of emotional and professional pressure. Through it all, he maintained composure, but the weight of personal history remained a constant presence beneath his public image. loss, pain, and physical trials. One of the most defining events of Freeman's later life was a severe car accident in 2008 that caused significant injuries to his arm and shoulder. The recovery was long and incomplete, leaving lasting nerve damage and chronic pain. He was later diagnosed with fibromyalgia, a condition that brought persistent discomfort and fatigue. These physical challenges changed how he moved, worked, and lived daily life. Even simple actions required adjustment and patience. In addition to physical suffering, he also experienced profound personal loss, including the tragic death of his granddaughter, which deeply affected him emotionally. These events reshaped his understanding of fragility and time. The combination of physical pain and emotional grief created a quieter, more reflective version of Freeman, one who continued working but with greater awareness of life's limitations and unpredictability. Wealth, work, and quiet discipline. At this stage of life, Freeman's financial success is substantial, built through decades of consistent work in film and narration. However, his approach to wealth remains measured and grounded. Rather than excess, he has focused on stability, selective investments, and meaningful projects. Much of his property and lifestyle choices reflect a preference for privacy and simplicity over display. His Mississippi estate, for example, represents not luxury for attention, but space for reflection and connection to roots. Beyond personal assets, he has also supported education initiatives and environmental efforts, particularly in regions tied to his upbringing. Professionally, he continues to work selectively, choosing roles that align with his voice and experience, rather than volume or demand. Even now, his presence in film remains steady, defined more by quality than frequency, reflecting a long-established discipline in how he approaches both life and career. A legacy built on endurance. Morgan Freeman's legacy is not defined by a single achievement, but by sustained endurance across time, struggle, and change. His life reflects a journey through segregation, poverty, rejection, fame, physical injury, and personal loss. Yet, through each stage, he remained present, continuing to contribute to storytelling and public life without losing his sense of calm identity. His influence extends beyond cinema into cultural memory, where his voice and performances continue to shape how stories are experienced. What stands out most is not perfection, but persistence. He did not avoid hardship. He moved through it repeatedly, adapting each time. At 88, his life represents a full arc of human experience, where success and suffering coexist without cancelling each other out. His story ultimately reflects a simple truth. Legacy is not built only on achievement, but on the ability to endure and remain steady through every stage of life.